You help people too much, not because you are kind, because you still believe helping everyone will make them respect you. It doesn't. In reality, blind generosity signals something else. Predictability, availability, weak boundaries, and certain people are trained to detect that instantly. Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago. He observed rulers fall not because they were cruel, but because they were generous to the wrong people. Help, when used without control, does not create loyalty, it creates entitlement. Some people become stronger when you help them. Others become more dangerous. By the end of this, you will see exactly which ones you must never help. Because powerful people do not stop helping, they simply become precise about who receives it. The first type is the entitled taker. This person does not ask for help like it is a favor. They ask as if it is their right. You've seen this before. A co-worker constantly asking for small favors. Cover this shift. Review this file. Fix this mistake. At first they say thank you, then they stop saying it. Soon the request becomes an expectation. The psychology behind this is simple. Humans adapt quickly to repeated benefits. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation. What once felt generous becomes normal treatment, so the first time you help, they feel grateful. The fifth time, they feel comfortable. The 10th time, they feel entitled. People fall into this trap because they believe gratitude creates loyalty. But gratitude fades. Expectations stay. The real damage appears the moment you say no. Suddenly, you are the selfish one. Not because you changed, because their baseline changed. Strategic people understand this. They help selectively, not constantly. Scarcity preserves value. Generosity without scarcity turns into weakness. The second type is the emotional manipulator. This person rarely asks directly. Instead, they trigger guilt. You might hear something like, "It's fine, I'll just deal with it myself." Or, "Don't worry, I know you're busy." But the tone tells you something else. They are waiting for you to step in. Humans are wired to avoid social rejection. When someone signals disappointment, your brain feels pressure to repair the connection. That pressure pushes you to help, even when you shouldn't. People confuse compassion with compliance. They believe refusing makes them cold. But the manipulator understands something important. If they can control your emotions, they can control your decisions. The long-term result is exhaustion. You start helping not because you want to, but because you feel responsible for their emotional comfort. Strategic thinkers separate emotion from decision. They listen calmly, evaluate the situation, and choose whether help serves a real purpose. Help given under pressure is not generosity. It is leverage lost. The third type is the strategic victim. This person always seems to be in trouble. Something is always falling apart. Money problems, work problems, relationship problems. Every conversation turns into a crisis. At first, helping feels noble. You solve something, they thank you. But the same problem returns weeks later. The psychological mechanism here is a reward loop. When people receive constant rescue, they unconsciously stop developing solutions. The brain learns that external help will arrive. Over time, the victim identity becomes stable, not because they want to suffer, but because suffering keeps attracting support. Many people fall into this trap because helping makes them feel useful. It activates the hero instinct. Solving problems creates a sense of importance, but repeated rescue does something dangerous. It trains dependency. You become responsible for problems you did not create. Strategic assistance works differently. You can help someone once, you can guide them, but you do not adopt their problems as your responsibility. Solve the situation once. After that, they must build the ability themselves. Comment this once, so it locks in. I help with precision. If you're building a disciplined mind that understands these dynamics, subscribe to Ilu Codex. This channel is built for people who prefer clarity over comfort. The fourth type is the opportunistic friend. This person appears supportive when things are going well for you. They celebrate your wins. They praise your success. But when you struggle, they disappear. Their loyalty is connected to your usefulness. You might notice it slowly. Messages arrive when you gain influence. Invitations appear when you have resources or connections, but during difficult periods, silence. This behavior comes from a simple social mechanism. Humans naturally move toward value. It is called resource proximity. People orbit individuals who increase their own opportunity. There is nothing inherently evil about this instinct, but it becomes dangerous when you mistake proximity for loyalty. The result is one-sided commitment. You invest energy into a relationship that only activates when you are valuable. Strategic people watch patterns, not words. If someone only appears when you are rising, their loyalty belongs to the opportunity, not to you. Respect is reciprocal. Access is earned. The fifth type is the reputation parasite. This person attaches themselves to your credibility. Imagine a colleague who constantly mentions working with you in meetings. They reference your projects as shared achievements. They borrow your authority to elevate their own status. The mechanism behind this is status transfer. Humans subconsciously assume competence through association. If someone appears close to a respected individual, observers assume similar capability. Helpful people often fall into this trap because they enjoy collaboration. They share credit easily. They promote others. But uncontrolled association dilutes reputation. Your achievements become collective stories rather than individual proof. Strategic individuals guard their name carefully. Collaboration exists, but attribution remains clear. Your reputation is not just a reflection of your work. It is a form of power, and power requires boundaries. The sixth type is the silent competitor. This one is subtle. They seem curious about your process. They ask questions about how you work, how you solve problems, how you make decisions. At first it feels like admiration, but information is leverage. When you reveal your methods freely, you create information asymmetry in the wrong direction. They gain knowledge without sharing their own strategy. People fall into this trap because teaching feels rewarding. Sharing experience makes us feel respected, but in competitive environments, knowledge is structure. When someone understands your system better than you understand theirs, they gain strategic advantage. The result is unexpected rivalry. The person you helped eventually stands in direct competition. Strategic operators share results, not blueprints. Curiosity is welcomed, but critical methods remain controlled. Mystery protects leverage. The seventh and most dangerous type is the bottomless well. This is the person whose situation never improves regardless of how much help they receive. A relative who constantly needs money. A friend whose problems multiply every month. A colleague who always requires rescue. At first you believe one more intervention will fix it, one more loan, one more solution, but nothing changes. The mechanism here is chronic dependency. When someone repeatedly escapes consequences through outside support, personal responsibility weakens. The brain adapts to the rescue. People continue helping because they fear appearing cruel. They tell themselves compassion requires sacrifice. But there is a difference between support and enablement. Support helps someone grow. Enablement keeps them exactly where they are. Strategic people recognize the difference. Instead of constant rescue, they offer guidance. Instead of unlimited resources, they create boundaries. Have you met someone like this? Machiavelli once wrote that benefits should be given gradually, so their value remains visible. The principle is simple. When generosity becomes constant, it becomes invisible. Scarcity preserves influence. Helping people is not weakness. Blind helping is. When help is rare, it creates gratitude. When help is constant, it creates expectation. So the transformation is simple. You stop being endlessly available. You become deliberately supportive. You stop reacting to every request. You evaluate. You stop proving kindness. You practice controlled generosity. Comment this final line if you understand the shift. I choose strategic generosity because powerful people don't stop helping. They stop helping the wrong people. If you are building a disciplined mind that values control, silence, and precision, subscribe to Ilu Codex. And remember this, the moment your help becomes predictable, your power disappears.